if you want to put it in a genre, I mean the quote unquote romantic comedy genre, your film is so refreshing because it's not as tired as that genre would indicate. And I'm curious from you, when you read the script, what elements kind of transcended the boundaries of that genre for you?
Oh man, that's a great question. Yeah, I mean, I certainly loved how honest Mark Hammer's script was about young romance and dating and sex, and I thought just the authenticity of the way he handled all those things was incredibly refreshing. And then in terms of aspects that go sort of beyond the conventional romantic comedy parameters, one of the things that was most intriguing to me was how he included what felt like some really timely generational themes for me, making it, to my eyes, almost as much of a coming-of-age movie as it is a romantic comedy. So it was really the hybrid of those two things that was most exciting to me.
Yeah. Well, did you see kind of a touch of John Hughes in it?
I mean, John Hughes is my god. So I would never in a million years draw a comparison there. But I do think that that some of the things that I most love about his films were certainly true of the story that Mark crafted, in that it's one of those movies that, or certainly one of those stories that I think is about where the fact that the characters are young and that there's a lot of things that they haven't figured out yet, that their age allows you to be sympathetic to the things that they don't yet know about life or love that you perhaps might not be as sympathetic about in older characters. So yeah, that's certainly something that I always felt about the hallowed ground that John Hughes walked, and I think that aspect is true of the Two Night Stand story.
Yeah. Well, if I'm not mistaken, you are married with children. So
I am indeed.
So was there any part of the kind of the generational aspect of these characters and what they're going through, was there any part of it that was foreign or new to you?
I think that some of the experiences of fumbling your way through figuring out how to be a good, perceptive, considerate person in the realm of romance and sex and dating are kind of universal, and that, yeah, maybe the clothes that we're wearing while we fumble our way through are different and the music that we're listening to might be different, but that I think those experiences have probably been roughly the same, whether people are meeting online or meeting in bars or, wherever else in the market square, but that I do think that remembering how complicated those things can be or how hard they can be to get right, that's something that as you get older, it's hard to remember how inaccessible that stuff was to you then. So I guess I'm grateful to be slightly arrested in that department and be able to remember how hard it was.
Yeah. But what I also love about the movie, I mean, I'm grateful for any movie that's actually about people, because those movies seem more and more rare nowadays. But
I hear you. That was certainly another thing I absolutely loved about it.
Yeah, and you're, I know that you're asked about your father a lot, but your father on stage and screen, he is one of the great directors, one of the great dramatists, and solely for that, if for nothing else, because he has such a focus on character. But when I think about his great coming of age movie, which was The Graduate, and then I think of yours, times have changed so radically in the industry that we have less and less of those kinds of movies. And I know that you're releasing your film on VOD and theatrical kind of concurrently, I believe.
Yeah.
What is your take on kind of the changing nature of the industry and how smaller character-based films like yours are getting seen?
Well, I mean, I'm far from an expert on the industry, so I don't know about commenting on it from sort of a business insider perspective, but that as a fan of movies that take chances, whatever those chances might be, that go beyond or run somewhat differently than what you might find at your mainstream multiplex. I think it's exciting that there are sort of increased opportunities to go directly to the audience for those kind of movies. That previously, if a film, for God knows what reason, only warranted an independent release or an art house release, then you were basically only ever going to reach an audience of people who were either lucky or misfortunate, depending on how you look at it, to live within driving distance of an indie theater. The fact that anyone can hear about the movie online now and anyone can watch it online no matter where they are, that feels like really exciting for audiences and filmmakers.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I see it as more opportunity to get it out in front of people that might otherwise not have been able to access it. So, I love
absolutely, and I think it's liberating for filmmakers that there's an opportunity to make and release movies that don't necessarily have to pack theaters on 1,000 screens some holiday weekend.
Yeah. I love your DP on this film, Bobby.
He's the man.
He's wonderful. We had him on the show not too long ago, and he's incredible. I want to know your conversations with him, the challenges specific to shooting this kind of material, and how you guys worked that out.
Well, one of the most exciting things about Bobby is that even though he is a master technician, that unlike some DPs you might work with, where there's a bit of a language barrier in that, potentially as a director you're talking story and motivation and character, and that sometimes the primary jargon for your DP is more technical in nature. One of the wonderful things about the conversations that Bobby and I would have about this material was it was entirely about what the character demanded, what the scene demanded, what the story demanded, and then working backwards from there about how that was best interpreted and translated by camera. From that sort of reasonably high-minded conversation that we were lucky to be able to have about the movie, the funny thing in terms of challenges that we faced was that, we shot this entire movie on a tiny budget in 19 days, largely in one small room, which anyone who has even made a student film knows is, in terms of logistics and camera and equipment, is incredibly tricky. And I give Bobby infinite credit for his sort of Zen master of cinematography approach to never allow these somewhat demanding work conditions to get the better of him. I've never seen someone keep their cool under trickier circumstances the way he did.
Yeah, it's beautifully done. Did I read this correct? Did you have a premiere at the Chinese theater the other night?
We did indeed, which was absolutely a treat, and certainly something I could have never expected. That was really nice. I
mean, your debut film, and you have the big premiere at the Chinese theater. I mean, that's like a dream.
No, it absolutely wild, and it is a fun and telling comments on the state of the business right now. One night you're premiering on a perfect screen and perfect sound to a packed house of 500 people at the Chinese theater, and then the movie's coming soon to a phone near you.
Yeah, it's a brave new world for movies, for sure.
I like it. It covers all bases in a week.